I have a guest. My first time meeting her, Leonarda Jonie. Jonie.
Yeah.
Leonarda Jonie. I never heard of a woman named Leonardi.
Leonarda.
Leonarda.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my parents thought I was going to be a boy, and so they just adjusted at the last minute.
Amazing. Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I love your show, Jesse.
Oh, thank you.
It's great watching your clips, you know, when you own people just by telling them the truth. It's awesome.
That's amazing. And she is an Austin-based stand-up comedian, originally from New York City, is a free speech comedian who used her comedy to highlight the absurdity of woke propaganda. What is free speech comedy? What does that mean?
Well, basically, it means saying all the things that the establishment doesn't want you to say, you know. So anything that goes against the quote-unquote progressive movement
Right.
is considered offensive, and you are cancelable for that. Nobody's supposed to talk about those things. So to me, free speech is saying all the things that everybody gets upset at you for. Otherwise, you know, why do we have free speech? I don't understand that.
And when you're working, doing your comedy, do people walk out or yell at you or anything like that?
Not at my shows, because the people who are coming to my shows know what I'm about, and that's what they want to hear.
Right. Oh, okay.
I've never really had people walk out, to be honest. Really, a lot of the hate happens behind the scenes.
Oh, I see.
With fellow comedians who aren't really comics, right? But consider themselves comedians, calling clubs and complaining about me, or people online getting offended and calling and demanding that my shows be canceled. This is really where it happens. So,
And so when you're doing your comedy, you just you talk about people, you call fat people fat.
you know, some people would say that what I do is just talk like somebody from 30 or 40 years ago.
Right on.
All the stuff that we used to all know
Yeah.
and admit, but now we've all agreed to deny for the sake of somebody else's feelings, right? This false compassion that we're supposed to have.
Yes. And when you are attacked, especially by fellow comedians and personally, how do you deal with that when it's personal?
So sometimes, you know, these people are really dysgenic looking people. They're usually fat. They're usually ugly. They're usually very untalented and unsuccessful.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to roast them. You know, all I really have to do is zoom in on a picture of them and post it and say something like, you really shouldn't be talking, you know. So sometimes I'll do that. A lot of the times I'll just ignore it because they're not worth the energy, and that's what they want. You know, they don't get any attention anywhere else, but they get this social credit from their peer circle.
Right.
That's what they're
Yeah.
doing. They're signaling to their peer circle.
Absolutely.
Hi, look, I believe all the things we're supposed to believe. Aren't I a good person? We're bonding together now. Now you'll hire me for jobs. And it's like, you're still not funny.
Right.
You know?
That's a good point. Absolutely. Amazing. And
By the way, my fiance and I will say this to each other through at the house. Like, we do something, we'll go, amazing.
what the? Nice. Is it easier for male comedians or female
Women.
today? It's easier for women.
Yeah, the reason it's hard if it's hard for women right now is just because they're mostly not funny, right? So when women complain, oh, it's so hard, it's like, you're not funny. That's why. Because all you have to do is be a little funny, just a little funny as a woman, and you can get really far. I mean, look at me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Speaking of men and women, but first let me ask, you were banned from Joe Rogan's comedy.
I was.
read.
I was banned from the Comedy Mothership. I've been banned from many clubs across the country because of this low-level comic hatred that I get.
I was surprised to hear you were banned from Joe Rogan. Are you able to say why they banned you from there?
Honestly, I don't actually really know the official reason because none was given to me. And it really was just, like I said, these loser comedians who were talking I know you don't like to swear, but I'm from New York, so
No, I
it's
love
like
to swear.
it's like drinking water
Yeah,
for us, you know.
Yeah.
These comedians like to talk shit about you and stir up a ruckus. So that's what happened. It was low tier stuff. It's not anything Rogan himself was involved in. You know, Rogan's like a really busy man. He's got to
Right.
handle a million things, so he has to
Yes.
delegate. And unfortunately, you know, some people take advantage of not having that kind of oversight
Yeah.
and like to institute their own power.
Oh, I see. And so you didn't get a chance to ask him
No.
what happened.
No,
That
I'm not
makes
even sure
sense.
that he knows I'm banned from his club. I don't think he would like that too much.
Really?
No. Well, he's a free speech comedian, and
Right. That's why I was surprised.
I'm
that
like
he,
on the frontier as a female free speech comedian. They really don't have anybody like me there, so I think that would be pretty upsetting to him, actually.
And you say that you mentioned your boyfriend,
Fiance,
fiance.
Yes.
When are you getting married?
in October.
Really?
Yes.
Of this year?
Yes.
What?
Yes. He's a great guy.
And what's great about him?
Lots of things. You know, he's very masculine, which I like. It allows me to be a woman. You know, that was one of the things I really appreciated about him. He, even before we started dating, he would open doors for me, take me out to eat. If I try to pay for something, he would just kind of be like, "What are you doing?" You know, which I really like. Not because I want to take advantage of somebody for their money, but it makes you feel taken care of.
Right.
There's something very primal about it. And it also shows the level of seriousness that they take you. You know, it's like, hey, I don't want you to ever feel like I don't have your back, you know?
Amazing.
And he's very respectful. He's also hilarious. He's very funny. So,
Is he a comedian?
yes.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
What? Really?
Yeah.
And do you obey him?
Well, yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm still a modern woman, Jesse. So, you know, but I do put up some fights and stuff. But ultimately, if he's like yesterday, I wanted to go get some food somewhere and we start going. Then he goes, you know what? This isn't a good idea because of everything that's going on right now. We don't want to be in this part of town.
Right.
So, of course, I pouted for exactly 30 seconds. And then he was like, you know, sometimes you just have to let me decide. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know. And I prefer that, you know, because
Absolutely.
I've been in relationships where I have to lead because the man is totally incompetent. And you're like, yeah, this isn't going to work out. You know, it's not going to work out.
And which do you prefer, alpha male or beta male?
Come on now, Jesse. What kind of question is that? If he's a beta male, I'm going to eat him alive.
Yep.
You know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've noticed that there's a difference between the mindset of men as opposed to the mindset of women. Have you noticed the difference between the two?
In which respects?
Men tend to be more logical about things. Well, not beta male. Beta males think
Beta
like
males
women.
are very emotional.
Yeah, they think like women. They have the mother's mindset. You're right.
Logical. Yeah, women are more feeling. And you know, I'm a little bit of an anomaly because I was a logic teacher for quite a long time, actually, about 15 years. And
Right.
I have both kind of aspects, right? But I do think women have a more emotional nature. And I don't think that's a problem. You know, I think this is one of the things that we got from feminism is that the qualities of women are somehow inferior and need to be shed. That's the great irony of feminism.
Yeah.
Trying
Yeah.
to empower women by making them feel bad about the things that come naturally to us. Women are emotional because we have to take care of children and we have to be attuned to them. Otherwise, they're going to die or suffer great negligence.
Amazing. So were you growing up? Were you closer to your father or your mother?
My mother.
Your mother.
Yeah.
And why not your father?
Well, my dad is more of a traditional old world. You know, they're European immigrants. They're old world style. You know, my father's thing was, I'm going to go make the money. You raise the kids. Don't
Right.
bother me.
Nice.
I'll come in for discipline and teaching some things, but that's it.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I often tell people in order to be free, they got to forgive their parents.
Yes, that's
To dr-
100% correct.
To drop anger. Have you done that?
Yes.
And how did it go? You went to them and forgave them?
Yeah, well, it's a slow and long process. You know, there's definitely a lot of things for me to be resentful about.
Yeah.
You know, for sure.
Yeah.
And it causes a lot of pain and grief, you know. But what I know is when I was holding on to that resentment, I didn't care about destroying myself.
Yeah.
As long as I could make them feel pain.
Absolutely.
And-
What?
But that's the truth.
That is so true.
That's the truth of resentment, right?
Yeah.
And because if your parents love you, right? If your parents don't love you and they're neglectful, the best thing you could do is be successful. That's your biggest revenge. But if your parents do love you as a child, the greatest revenge you can give them is upon the harm you do to yourself.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
somehow, it's not like all this stuff is conscious in our brains, you know?
No.
We just function on an instinctual level.
Angry people are unconscious. They don't know what they're doing.
Very unconscious. And that's
Yeah.
what I see a lot with this sort of progressive youth movement, this trans movement, this fat, everybody wants to be fat and gross. You're destroying yourself because you have a resentment. There's something that happened in your life that you don't like.
Absolutely.
But the problem is, what's so bad about now is the culture is constantly stoking these resentments. You're going to school with communist teachers. You're watching communist television programs. Your friends are programmed by this sort of communism where it's all about the wrongs that were done to you and how you're a victim.
Yeah.
So you're seeped in this culture 24/7. There's no escape from it.
What a mess, huh?
Yep. So these people are just walking
mess.
around extremely resentful, destroying themselves, hoping that they can destroy their parents. And it's like, you will destroy your parents, but at what cost?
That's right. You're destroying yourself. I was watching this riot that happened in L.A. over the last weekend and week, and I'm looking at these young people and I'm thinking, these people don't even know why they're out here.
Correct.
They're just doing that out there. They're just doing this because somebody told them to go and do it. And they get a thrill from being out throwing rocks and acting that way.
Right.
It's all for the thrill.
And everybody tells them that they're good people now.
Yeah.
Look at how good you're doing.
Yeah.
So here's one of the things I've noticed because I get a lot of hate. I've gotten death threats. I've gotten people telling me I'm a evil person and all this stuff. And then I'll go look at these people. I'll look them up. And they have domestic violence arrests. They have DUI arrests. I had a stripper tell me I was a bad person. She had an OnlyFans account. And I was like, oh, I understand what's going on. These people are actually immoral. They actually don't have a solid morality of their own. And I think we're programmed by God with a deep, innate sense of morality.
Absolutely.
And so you can't run away from knowing that you are immoral.
Yeah.
And so but you also can't reconcile that because nobody wants to believe they're a bad person, right? So they have to come up with a way to reconcile the idea that they're a good person despite what they do. And so the fast track to that is to find someone like me who the system says is evil and throw all of their, projections about themselves onto me and be able to say, well, I'm not that person, see?
Yeah.
I'm not racist.
Yeah.
I'm not sexist. I'm not homophobic. I'm not fatphobic. So she's a bad person. Despite everything I did, she's a bad person. And I'm like, you're literally selling your butthole online.
What a mess.
And you think you could tell me because I make racial jokes that I'm a bad person? Okay. I mean, I might be a bad person. I'm still a bad person, but I'm just saying I'm not.
I know.
So
you were born in what country?
Montenegro, but I'm Albanian.
Montenegro?
Yeah. That's going to be a racist. Just when the EU takes over, you're not even able to say that anymore. But it's I'm Albanian from Montenegro. I mean, the borders over there constantly change. So where I was born used to be part of Albania until after the First World War, and then the powers that went in just divided all the land arbitrarily. It created a whole mess. But I'm Albanian, born in Montenegro.
And how old were you when you left there to come here?
1.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you don't remember a lot about it then.
No, I've been back. I definitely have been back. It's really beautiful.
Oh, it is?
It's a beautiful country, but I love America. I love being American.
Is it a socialist country?
I don't know what it is. It doesn't have that it used to be under Yugoslavia. All these things were under a kind of socialism, but
Right.
but not the kind of socialism that you understand from Russia. There wasn't that kind of oppressive boot. It was a socialism that actually cared about its citizens. My
Okay.
mother tells me life was actually really good then. But at the same time that was happening, there was severe communism in Albania. Now that was horrible.
Okay.
And my parents will talk about that. But the socialism that was going on there was more of like taking care of your citizens. So now
really?
I would say it resembles more of a quote unquote democracy, but it's a mess.
Are you considered white to be white?
I think we are now. I think they're letting whoever they can in because the stock is down on white people. So
we need some white people.
like,
we need
some
white babies.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. But I think all Europeans are white. So this whole thing where it's like you're not white, you're Italian. I'm like, all right, so what are they then?
Right.
If they put them in a different category. They're not Asian. They're not Indian, right? They're not black. They're European, you morons.
Right on. And do they have black people
No.
in your country?
No.
No black people?
Nope. So I
What
can
the-
drop the N-bomb all I want. Nobody's around to get upset.
Really?
There are no we sometimes will get like one or two black tourists from Germany, and everybody knows when they're there because we don't have that, So like I remember one
some
time
black people here.
I went there for a vacation like maybe 12 years ago, and there's like a boardwalk and everybody sits at the restaurants and they just look out at the boardwalk. And all of a sudden I see all the heads turning like a sea, like a wave. I'm like, what are they looking at? And there's like one sole black guy walking along and they're all just like following him. And I'm
Like, where did he come from?
yeah, where did he come from?
What the?
Yeah.
And so, as far as you know, do black people not want to live there or something? Why are there no blacks?
There's no welfare,
Oh, that makes sense. What's wrong with the blacks?
Man, that's a lot. That's a deep, deep question about what's going on with blacks in America specifically, right?
Especially, yeah.
I mean, I think you hit it on the head. I think the family was destroyed
Yep.
intentionally by people that have now turned their gaze upon the whites and are doing the same thing. They did it, post the civil rights movement.
Absolutely.
They push the whole point of this system that we have is to make women wedded to the state not need a man, quote unquote, not need a man, right? Because they got big daddy government taking care of them. It's all such a psychological abuse, right? And then you can break apart the bonds that bind men and women together, because need is what actually binds people together. And then from there, once you have that, now you have easy access to the children. And why is this important? Because children's minds are much more easily corruptible, and you can shape them into the good little slave patriots that you need to do whatever it is you want them to do.
Yeah.
And I think with the black community, what they want them to do is be criminals.
Absolutely.
Because
they love that.
Of course.
They make money and power from that.
Well, there's a lot of things you can do with that, right? First of all, you can corrupt a whole community and they have no forward movement.
Yeah.
Then you can tell them that it's all Whitey's fault.
Yes.
So now you have a biological weapon that you can go ahead and use to torment what is the mainstream culture that's keeping you from having power, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. And so this because you just look at the music that they give them. Look at the culture that they give them. Look at what gets praised in that community, right? What gets praised in that community is how gangster can you be?
Yeah.
How much money can you flaunt, right? And then they're doing the same thing now with the white community in a different way, right?
Yes.
You have to target races differently according to their weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Right? So with the whites, it's this weakness of being empathetic and compassionate and don't be called a bad name. And so now it's how tolerant can you be of your child's mental illness? And this is where you can completely destroy the family, because you have people growing up to castrate themselves because they're like, I identify as the opposite gender. I mean, just a completely insane concept.
Why is it, and this has been going on now for at least 70 years or so with the blacks, right?
Yeah. Well, it's been going on actually for at least 70 years with all of America.
Yeah.
Is really, if you look at what happens post-World War II, This is when they start to institute these kind of massive social engineering projects. And we had the McCarthy era where he's calling out Hollywood and saying, these guys are all communists and this is what they're doing. And, we're taught that in school as this, he was crazy. Well, was he that crazy?
That's right. Why is it that some people, like after so long, 70 years or so, some people tend to wake up and see what's going on with themselves and others, but most people seem not to. Why is it that most people don't wake up?
It's a really difficult question. I think it's going to ultimately come down to what you really want in your heart of hearts. If you really, really want the truth, you'll find it.
You will.
Because,
Absolutely.
Christ says, knock and it
Yeah.
shall be open to you. Seek and ye shall find. What is he
100.
talking about?
Absolutely.
I think he's talking about the truth.
Yeah.
And I think if people, even if you have just like a little bit of a desire, if you feed that little desire, it will grow and grow and grow until nothing else will do except the truth. You can't tolerate anything else.
That's deep. Absolutely true.
The other people who don't want to wake up don't want the truth.
Right.
They want all the things that they think they're getting from believing this system. And there's a lot of reinforcement for it, right? When I started to wake up, there was no advantage that I could see to waking up. I was in the middle of New York City, surrounded by lesbian liberal feminists who all claimed to be my friend.
Yeah.
Super progressive culture. Everybody was completely disorganized, right? And waking up meant I was going to become the enemy.
Yes.
I was going to become everything
Yeah.
that I was told was evil. Do you know what it takes to face that and say, okay, I guess I'm evil because I know the truth, if that's what it is. You're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose your
Absolutely.
friends. You're going to lose the rewards of the system that tells you you're a good person. You're going to lose this sort of comfort that you get from thinking you're on the right side because, at least the mainstream agrees with you. Then there's all the perks. If you're a victim constantly, then none of it's your fault.
A lot of free stuff and
A lot of
nothing
free
is
stuff.
your fault. Absolutely.
Nothing's your fault.
Yeah.
But the issue is that's a prison. That's a lie.
Yeah.
All you ever are
Absolutely.
going to feel like in that world is an incompetent slave.
Yeah.
And you never know your own abilities, what you're capable of. And really, you never know the truth, to me, which is God. And there's nothing that you could give someone on a material level that could ever compete with that. But
Yeah.
people don't know that.
Absolutely. Wow. That's amazing. Amazing. So, you were a liberal at one time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And so, being a liberal, why did you become that? And what was it like being a liberal? Were you just
I don't think I ever became a liberal. I just, you grow up in that system,
with that-
right?
yeah.
You're sending your kids to public school, right? The whole public school is completely liberal. What public school is going to sit there and teach you that, women really are better suited to raising kids? It's not. Are you kidding me? That's never going to work with a government mandated propaganda system. That's not going to happen. You're in these schools that are telling you this. I'm a woman. I'm coming from an actual misogynist culture with real inequality, right? And so I'm like, yeah, you're right. And it's important. There is some elements of it that I think are important. There need to be checks on toxic men. And I'm not talking about the toxic men that they want us to believe.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
No, I totally
Men
know
who
what you mean.
really do abuse their power.
Yeah.
Men who don't know how to protect and care for women. This is a real problem in a system that is lopsided the other way,
Yes.
right? So if liberalism was a total lie, they would never have any power. They are talking about things that are real,
Yeah.
but they go too far the other way.
And so were you like a proud liberal? You were like, I'm liberal. I know I'm liberal.
No, because it wasn't that way.
Oh.
You know, this new thing that we have now where everything is super political and everybody's got to, announce what they are. This is new. This is
Absolutely.
like 2016, 2017.
Sure is.
Before that, you just
That's amazing.
you just had your beliefs and you were what you were, and you generally thought the Republicans were racist, right? You
Yes.
generally thought that, but you didn't hate them.
When I was a Democrat, and I became a Democrat when I moved out here to L.A. because when I was growing up, most black people were Republican. But when I moved to L.A., I became a Democrat, and I literally thought white people were holding me back. I thought that they were racist. I believed the lie that came from Jesse Jackson and Louis Farrakhan.
Right,
and all
the
people.
race baiters.
Yeah, at that time I was 18, so I thought they were true leaders. I didn't know they were leading me right to hell.
Yep. Or to your own destruction. Because, I mean, what kind of a message is that to you as an 18-year-old?
Yeah, that's
You have
right.
no power.
I know.
You're incompetent. Everything's everybody else's fault. If everything is everybody else's fault, then there's nothing you can do about it.
I was doing better when I was in Alabama picking cotton. Let me take a break. Back in a moment. So I want to get to some calls, but I need Hate to come in here with the super chat so I can get to some calls and super chat for my guest, Leonarda.
Yes.
Right?
That's it. You got it.
That's amazing. Tell people how to get to your website or whatever you want.
Yeah, you can just go on leonardaisfunny.com. So leonardaisfunny.com. And I've got my shows there, all my social media places. I mean, you can find me on YouTube at Leonarda is Funny. I'm currently on tour, so I'm coming to North Carolina this weekend, actually. I'll be there. So if people want to see me, come see me.
Right on. I want, before we go to the phone calls for you and super chats, that's Hake of the Hake Report.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
I asked you, are you surprised during the break? I have a black producer.
Yeah, and I'm surprised your show runs on time every time now. But I see you got a white guy to keep everything going.
I rest my case. And do you know that July is White History Month?
Yes, I do. And I'm so ready for it.
Right on.
I'm going to be marching with my tiki torch.
I'm glad that you're getting married so you guys can start making white babies right away.
Yes, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on that, Jesse.
We need white babies.
Yeah, we do need white babies.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, if we don't have white babies, where are all the migrants going to go?
That's right.
They're not going to have any countries to flee to,
What a mess.
It's a total mess.
I want to get to some calls, but I have two quick questions, I think. Number one, what would it take for white people to get over the fear of being called racist and afraid of losing things so that they can finally stand up for the country, for their families and the country? What would it take?
They need to realize what's at stake. You've got to put, because people do call me racist all the time because they think it's going to shut me up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I already see through your bullshit, so I
Yeah.
know what this is. But you have to go, okay, either I'm going to be called racist and some people are not going to like me, or my whole family's going to die. Because that's where we're really at, right?
on.
Because what does it mean when they call you racist is you won't give us every single thing we want and smile.
Yeah.
And first, the things they wanted were little things. Now they want your total extermination. They say it openly.
They do say it. Absolutely.
And the other thing that needs to happen is white people who run businesses need to stop giving in every time someone calls and says one of your employees is racist or this thing that you want to have is racist. They need to be like, thank you very much. Because what happens is these are a bunch of crybabies.
Yes.
And so when they cry and somebody gives them what they want, then they learn they can cry again and they get what they want.
Amazing.
When they cry and nobody gives them what they want, they have to go somewhere else. But it's very difficult, Jesse, because the whole system is anti-white. So a company, a business can say, yeah, whatever, go to hell. We don't care. And then what's going to happen? They're going to go to the next level, right? They're going to go to the media. They're going to go to the government to pursue legal action against them. I mean, just think about that couple that ran the bakery that didn't want to bake a cake for a couple of gays.
The gay cake.
Yeah, the gay cake. That whole thing was orchestrated, by the way.
Of course.
They knew.
That.
Yeah, right? They go. So the government comes down, but we need enough people to stand up and say, okay, fine, and find alternate routes. Because without that, we're dead.
Yeah. What a mess, huh? What a mess.
Total mess. Total mess.
Nice. I noticed that over the years, black people have blamed white people for their failure in life.
Yeah.
Everything that's wrong with the blacks, they blame it on white people, and it's only made them worse.
Right.
Because when you blame others, as an adult, when you blame others, you get worse. You don't get better.
Well, because, everybody likes to, there's that Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
The truth is actually that if you want to have any power, you need to take responsibility.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not responsible for the direction of your life, if it's always somebody else's fault, then there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So you might as well give up, which is where you find the black community.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But if you go, okay, let's just grant white people were horrible. They did slavery. Let's go with that, right? They discriminated, all that stuff. Everything you've been told, fine. Now what? If white people are that bad, they're not coming to rescue you. No one's coming to rescue you.
Absolutely.
So now you got to decide, do I want to live in my own filth and cry about how it's somebody else's fault? Or do I want to pick up the broom and start cleaning up? And the truth is, a lot of these people, white and black, are lazy, and they would rather live in the filth and be getting free things than do an ounce of work. That's the truth.
Amazing. And so what I noticed, though, now, not though, but now, there are white people who are blaming the Jews for their failure.
Yes.
They can't make it because the Jews control everything. They can't make it because of this. And I tell those white people they should not be blaming like that. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with issues if you want to disagree, but to blame, they're going to end up in the same ditch that the blacks are in because they're now blaming someone else for their lack of. What do you think about that?
So, if you know anything about me, I'm very critical about Jewish supremacy because I do think there is a very potent Jewish supremacist force in America. And if you don't believe this, all you have to do is look at our foreign policy with Israel, right? See, this is where they put a divide and conquer kind of thing, right? If you're a leftist, you fall into certain categories, supposed to be pro every other race.
Right.
And those guys can criticize Israel because they're a white colonial power, right? Or whatever. If you're on the right, you could be all anti the races and all this stuff, but you got to be pro-Israel. And if you somehow are mixed between those, you're without a home because they need this warring thing going on.
Right.
But when every single Republican starts talking about how we have to support Israel and we have to send tons of money to Israel when our own country is falling apart. I mean, you drive around these roads in California.
A mess.
I thought we were paying taxes so we can have roads. What people don't realize is the federal government gives, I think has given something like $300 billion of tax dollars to Israel. But it's not just the federal government. Every state gives a portion of its taxes to Israel. Not just every state, Jesse, every city. So recently, the city of San Marcos did an audit, and they saw that they were giving, San Marcos, very small city in Texas, saw that they were giving $4.4 million tax dollars of their residents' tax dollars to Israel. And they were like, well, wait a second. Our residents don't have health care. Our roads are falling apart. We'd like to take this money and repair our roads. Well, Governor Abbott, who's supposed to be a Republican, supposed to be pro-America, said, this is anti-Semitic. They didn't say anything anti-Semitic. They just said, we want to repair our roads. We don't want to give it to a foreign government, which seems like any national country would have that agenda, right? And he said, you're going to be defunded for these other programs that you get from the state. So tell me how that would make sense. Do we do that with any other government?
Well, we should take care of home first all the time.
All the time. But if you say that, you're called anti-Semitic because to me, it's the same thing as when you say, hey, black people, you should take responsibility for your life. You're called racist. If you tell women, hey, men are not your enemy and you would probably be happier taking care of your kids, they're like, you're a misogynist.
Right.
If you say, hey, gay people really shouldn't be married or put on the forefront of covers, they call you homophobic.
Yeah.
So these are all attacks meant to shut down intelligent conversation.
Absolutely. That's true. That's
So
true.
I don't think white people should sit around and cry about how the Jews have ruined everything, because once again, that's a very disempowering
Yes.
take. And then what are you going to do about it? So I'll say the same thing to them. Okay, let's say you're right. And there's a lot that they're right about. The Jews have taken over your institutions. They're pushing for a pro-Israel stance over pro-America. There's a lot of your funding that's been taken from you. Now what? What
go.
are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because sitting there and crying isn't going to change anything.
I say the same thing. I'm like, okay, let's assume that you're right, as you just said. What happened that you allowed that to happen? That you would let someone else come into your country and take over like that, the first thing. And why not do something about it rather than just complaining about
Yeah.
it? It's okay to see the problem, but why not get up and do something about it rather than, oh, I can't make it? Because in reality, real reality, no one can hold you back in life but you. As an adult, you are in control of your own life. Well, most people are not,
Yeah.
but they're supposed to be. But I want to know, Israel is our ally, the only
Supposedly.
ally in
The Middle
over
East.
there in that world,
Yeah.
right?
Supposedly they're our greatest ally,
right.
but there's a lot of behavior that's happened from them that would suggest not very ally behavior.
They don't like us.
No, they don't.
They don't like us.
No, I don't. No, they don't.
But they.
That's the truth. I
Really?
know that's going to offend a lot of people because you have a conservative audience who, again, is caught in this paradigm.
Right.
They don't. All you have to do is look up the USS Liberty that happened, I think it was like 1965, where Israel bombed an American ship that they knew was an American ship. That was verified that they knew it was an American ship. They saw the American flag. And after they bombed it, they called in and said, oh, I think it's American or whatever. And they told them, the dispatcher told them, okay, just leave something for our torpedoes to finish. The idea was they were going to finish it off, kill every American on board, and no one would know about it because the American ship had been collecting intelligence information, and they had collected accidentally, they weren't trying to spy on Israel because they thought it was their ally, but they had collected information that Israel was planning to set up a false flag to attack an American ship and make it look like Egypt did it so that America could go into the war with Egypt.
Amazing.
So there's all this stuff that people don't know about that gets shut out.
And there's so much I want to talk to you about because of time and the farm we'll get to. But I want to ask, you know I love Israel, right?
I do know. I'm gonna change.
Love the Jews.
I'm gonna change your mind.
I don't think there's
I don't actually. By the way, I gotta just say because some people want to put me in a category.
Yeah.
I like a lot of Jews. I grew up in New York. I know a lot of really excellent, amazing Jewish people.
You have a Jew friend?
I have a lot of Jew friends.
Everyone got one.
But
you have a lot.
You can't, because I'm from New York, you can't hate a whole group of people
Right.
because of what the government is doing of their nation.
Hey, Toma, I have a friend in Israel. Toma, be careful with that, man. But let me ask, you're a Christian,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And if it wasn't for Judaism, there would be no Christianity.
That's a whole deep discussion that I don't think you have time for.
Well, it must. And so, and you're right. I wish I did, but I don't. But let me ask, yes or no, do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
But if it was...
Because I think we're talking about two different things. That's why.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When you say Judaism, you're talking about what exists today as the Jewish nation.
I'm talking about the religion, spiritual aspect of it.
Right. That's what you're referring to, that which exists today. My understanding of Judaism is a bit different. You know, if you're going to talk about pre-Christian Judaism,
Right.
that's a different thing.
Oh, okay.
And it was broken apart because once the Second Temple was destroyed, those who were still Jews and hadn't accepted Christ scattered. And because when you didn't have a temple, you didn't have a religion as a Jew. You needed to do the sacrifice. Without the sacrifice, there was no religion. So the Jews scattered, and they reformed about 300 AD. So this is about 300 years after Christianity, happens, and a lot of what formed is in reaction to Christianity.
Do you believe that the Christians are the real Jews?
Christians are the real Jews.
I have a friend who believes. That's what. What's her name?
Again, that's
Right?
that's a difficult question, right? Because you're mixing up two different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
some people believe that.
If you
so
want to
that's why
say
I asked.
Israel, God's chosen people,
Yes.
Israel, right? That is the church. Otherwise, why does the church exist?
But the Jews were and are God's chosen people, right?
That again, right? We're playing with two different words, right? Because
okay.
I'm going to talk about it in one way, and you're going to we're going to understand something different. That's why I say that would be
Okay.
like a whole hour.
I'm gonna have to have you back just for that.
Yeah. I'd be happy to talk about it, but
And do you love the Jews?
I don't love anyone.
How about
I don't love the Jews. I don't love white people. I don't love blacks. I don't love because it's such a weird thing to say, right? How could you love some? I love my parents. I love my family. I love my fiance. I love a couple of friends that I have that I'm real close. I don't love some of the friends I have because they're fake and I know who they are. It's a very weird concept that we're supposed to like love. I don't think we can. I think as humans we're limited to loving first. I think really we have to work on loving first those within our. I think we have enough work trying to love our own family, your own even immediate family.
right?
Then imagine if you had to love all your extended relatives, right? And then their relatives. And now you want to just talk about whole random groups of people that I don't have any relation to? No, thanks. I'm good.
What a mess! But do you love hate?
Who? No, sorry, I just met you.
How about the anchor baby?
Definitely not. We're sending him back. No anchor babies.
God said, and it's true, that for us to love our enemies, even our enemy, love all. And if you don't love all, you love none.
That's a very difficult. It's just a difficult thing to get to. What does he mean by that?
Don't hate.
But yet he said you should hate evil, make war with evil, don't make peace with evil.
But when he was speaking of don't hate evil, to hate evil, it means don't identify with it. Because you become what you identify with.
Yeah.
And so when you hate evil, you become evil.
See, but this is why I don't want to
it,
love a Jew. I don't want to become a Jew.
You have more money.
That's true, actually. It's very anti-Semitic.
All my Jew friends are rich.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Amazing. So listen, I'm going to have you back on
I would love
that.
to. I love your show.
Okay.
It's so fun. You're going to get some hate calls, though. Or people are going to call and tell you that I'm an anti-Semite and a racist.
Well, that's fine. I don't care about that. I do love all people, though. I love my enemy and everyone. And we don't have to get into that, but I have no anger toward anyone, not even my enemy.
I don't know,
I
man.
love all people.
I don't know. I think hate can be a healthy anger and hate can be a healthy emotion against those who wish to destroy you and destroy those that you love.
Really?
I do think it's very important.
I got to have you back. I want you to respond. Nick, I want to play this, and then I get to these things here. I want to play this clip 16.5a. I want to hear your response to this.
Sure. Yeah, let's.
There was a protest in downtown Los Angeles on Saturday, and a Spanish woman did the rendition of the United States of America National Anthem. Did you hear about this?
I did. We should deport her.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, we should play this. This is.
When I haven't even seen it yet. My producer told me about it in our meeting this morning.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, did they cut her off? Did they run her out of there? But they, according to this report, they allowed her to do it. Her name was Vanessa
Hernandez.
Oh, you know about it?
No, I'm just filling
Hernandez.
in the. Yeah.
And what is it? Her last? Nessa? Derek? Nezza. You know about that, right?
I didn't know her name, but I saw a little clip of it.
Oh, okay. Do you have it written it? You have it?
I'm waiting on Derek.
Oh, you wait on there. Okay. Okay. Let me know when that's ready. In the meantime, let's get some response to Super Chats for her.
Pastor Shadowley says, Uncle Jesse, can we keep her? Southern Skies on Rumble says, Uncle Jesse, we love her. She is good and
I knew
very
y'all
funny.
would. I really knew it. That's when we kept her for an hour. Now I think we should have made 2 hours, but that's for another day.
Mike Young
Thank
says,
you.
hey, guest, your thoughts on Trump's second term so far?
Oh, he's letting us down. He's totally letting us down right now.
In what way?
Well, first of all, he promised us mass deportations. He's had way less deportations than even Obama did, but the media will never let you know that. He's caving. And, first he said he was going to do, all these illegals were going to be sent back. And now he's like, well, if you work at a farm, a restaurant, or a hotel, we're going to keep you. And he also promised us the end of the Ukraine war. Ukraine just bombed Russia. He promised us that we weren't going to enter a new war, and it seems like America is going to be entering into this war with Israel and Iran, which honestly, it's like, yeah, if you start a war, you should finish it. You can't rely on our
He's
soldiers.
working on it. He just got there yesterday. Rome wasn't built in a day.
I agree, but I'm just saying, look, if I am not in a cult, so
Oh, you're not?
no.
Well, no wonder.
I support Trump. I love a lot of what he represents because he represents a strong American identity. That's why they want to destroy him.
Yeah.
He's boisterous. He's unapologetic. He's proud to be American. But I'm also aware that if you say one thing and you do something else, I'm not going to be fooled by your rhetoric. So if you came here and you promised all these things and you're caving, and now we're going to be getting infinity H-1B visa Indians who take over every tech company and only hire their own, I'm not going to be happy about it.
Amazing. Am I able to hold you over for at least 10 minutes?
Yeah. No,
Because there's some calls for you.
let's do it.
And blah, blah, blah. What should we do?
We have a little. I have a couple more super chats.
Okay. Let me take a break first.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't want to do another. And I want you to hear this soundbite.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're going to hold Leonarda over.
I might just have to go put some money in the meter because
That
I think
works.
Okay.
I think it starts at 8.
Yeah, you have time.
Yeah, let me just go do that real quick.
Okay, we're going to take a break. The hate news is coming now, and I'll be back in a moment. I'm holding my guest over for a while. Not long, because I want to get to some other calls too, but I want her to respond to a couple sound bites here and take some of your phone calls and super chats, all right? And for those who are just tuning in, my guest is Leonarda Jonie.
That's right. You got it.
Nice. I was so nervous I thought I was going to say Jonah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Jonie. And she is an Austin-based stand-up comedian. Originally, from New York City.
Yes.
And she's a free speech comedian who used her comedy to highlight the craziness of the woke propaganda. All right? Thank you for staying over.
Well, thanks
for
for
a
having
while.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take some calls, and then you're going to have to leave.
You're going to kick me out.
I don't know where you're going, but you're leaving here. No, man. But so I got a text from my friend out of Israel, and he said, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm black and slow when it comes to this. He liked you? Right on. He liked you.
Oh, well, that's nice. I like him too now.
And he's a Jew.
You know what? I'm pro-Israel. What's up?
There you go.
That's it. That's how you can buy me. I'm a woman. You just tell me you like me. That's it.
That's all it
We're
takes.
going to war for Israel. Fuck Iran. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear in here. Sorry about that.
No, we have children listening.
I'm sorry, children. Apologies, children. You're going to have to learn these words one day when you go to New York.
So I want to ask, just, I don't want to get into, I'm going to have you back for it, but of all the countries in the rest of the world over that way,
Yeah.
who would you prefer we support other than, if not Israel?
I would prefer we support America.
Nobody over there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think let the people solve their own problems over there. We're not, first of all, our own country has been totally hollowed out. We're,
That's for
we're
sure.
completely falling apart. We do not have the resources to fix anyone in the world. And I think that that's the same ideology that we have. Like, you know, when somebody goes out and tries to fix other people, but their own family's falling apart, you're like, charity starts at home. Start there. Let them work out their problems. Because if you
It
don't
does start at
have,
home, yeah.
if you don't have America warring up Iran with a bunch of, Israel with a bunch of weapons and money, they're going to find a way to peacefully resolve their dispute with Iran because they don't want to lose their citizens' lives and their, well-being. But if you think about it like if you just have daddy's, credit card, you're going to run it up. But if you got to pay your own bills, otherwise you're going to get on the street, you're going to be a little bit more conscientious.
Nice. I want to get into that, but I can't.
No,
Time
we
won't
can't.
allow.
It's a lot. It's a long thing.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I definitely have you back for that. Tell the people who you are again for those who are just tuning in and how to get to your website or whatever.
Yeah, my name's Leonarda Jonie. You can find me leonardaisfunny.com. You can find me on YouTube at Leonarda is Funny, Instagram, and X, all the same thing, Leonarda is Funny.
Okay. And I want you to, I want to see what you think about this. They had it was down in Los Angeles on Saturday night downtown there. They had a woman get up to do the national anthem thing.
That's the first problem.
I know. I rest my case. This is from the New York Times. Here is the first soundbite from this from X.
It's okay. We are going to do the song in English today, so I'm not sure if that wasn't or if that wasn't relayed.
Alright, bear with me because I'm still very shooken up and emotional, and I just...
Why are you crying?
I know.
Stop crying.
I didn't understand what she was saying. What was she saying? You see Spanish?
I
Hola,
do, but I couldn't understand what she was saying. First of all, she sucks. She's not a good singer.
Right. Do you know what
Okay.
she was saying? Hey.
She said, okay, bear with me. I'm very shooken up.
No, in that song.
In the Spanish. She was
Right.
supposedly...
I guess that was the national anthem in Spanish.
Yeah, which how retarded is that, by the way? That's not even... You're not singing the Spanish national anthem. You're not singing the Dominican... You're singing the American national anthem, another country's national anthem in Spanish.
Yeah, she did the, instead of American, she did the official Spanish version of it.
Even though she was told not to.
Right,
according
she
to
was
that
told
clip.
not to do it.
Women being disobedient. See what I mean? That's why you got to start beating them again, Jesse.
I rest my case. She explained why she did it. Watch this from X.
I just got home from singing the national anthem in Spanish at the Dodgers game, and it is the official Star Spangled Banner in Spanish. You can Google it. It was officially commissioned in 1945 by the U.S. State Department. Because of this, I didn't think I would be met with any sort of no, especially because we're in LA and with everything happening. And I've sang the national anthem many times in my life, but there was today out of all days, I could not. I'm sorry. But I just felt like I needed to do it. Everything I do is out of love, out of love. I'm proud of myself. Because my parents are immigrants. They've been citizens my whole life at this point. They got documented really early. But I just can't imagine them being ripped away from me. Safe to say I'm never allowed in that stadium ever again. But I love you guys so much.
See what I said? See why it's important to hate, Jesse?
That is hate.
Yeah. Well,
And
she
she's
no, but she
calling it
no.
love.
This is about love.
She's calling it love.
What are you talking
but
about?
hate.
That's
They should run
love.
this woman out of the country.
They should run her out of the country. If
Yeah.
you're so proud, look,
Right.
first of all, you're representing, you have a Dominican Republic shirt when you're singing the American national anthem.
Yeah.
Go live in DR. Why don't you do that? Oh, because you guys didn't build a good country. America built a good country.
Yes.
But this is why people really need to understand. This is why white people need to wake up and stop being idiots.
Yes.
Because white people are the only people who are afraid to preserve their culture, preserve their European heritage, and say exclusively, no, this is European. No. Every other race and ethnicity and culture has no problem having a very clear, delineated boundary. Look at her. She's born here. She's technically American. And what is she representing? Dominican Republic, Spanish. No, blood and soil. That's a blood and soil race. She's not bending on that. So again, if the children start running wild, don't blame the children. Blame the parents.
Right. Absolutely.
And what I'm saying is, Europeans, you built this country, and now you're letting the children that you let in run wild. You got to step up, and when people call you racist, you got to be like, cool. And what else?
That's right. They should have cut her mic off if it's true that they told her not to do it.
They should have cut her off.
And she did it away. They should have said, "Hey, stop." And then told her to leave.
That's right. They should have cut her off. She should have been humiliated.
Yeah.
And she should be put on a plane. And what is she crying about? I can't imagine.
I know.
That my parents, they're not going to be written. You said they're citizens, right? They got their papers?
Right.
What are you crying about? It's girls, dumb girls, trying to make a statement. And that's communism right there. That's what you see.
What a mess. Hey, some more super chats.
Over on YouTube, Eli P says, who needs enemies when you have friends like Israel?
We're going to change you, Jesse.
I love Israel. Have you ever gone to Israel?
And no, but if anybody wants to buy me a trip, I will come back and support your country.
You got to go.
No, I don't.
No, you have to go.
I would get attacked after everything I
Especially
said.
being a Christian.
I would love to go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
You got to walk through the Bible in Israel. It is, if I were God, if you want to go to heaven, you would have had to go to Israel first. If you come up to the pearly white gates and you ring the bell, they're going to see if your name is on the list to get in. and they got the first and the only question, not if you're saved or born again, did you go to Israel?
Yeah.
If you say no, you got to go to the other way.
You got to go the other way.
Yeah.
Well, what if you say no and then God's like, all right, here's an all expenses paid trip.
Back to
and then
Israel,
come back.
That's different. No, you go to Israel first. But
did you pray at the wall?
I did.
But why would you do that? You're a Christian.
I love the Jews.
But the wall isn't a Christian thing. First of all, that's a wall that's left over from a Roman thing. It's not even part of the temple.
Well, in all honesty, the wall is just a wall.
I know.
It wasn't. I just did it because I love Israel.
Don't do it, Jesse. That's how the devil gets you.
What, to love Israel?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
You're supposed to love the church.
It's embedded in me. But anyway, okay.
Back Health 101 says she ain't wrong.
You got to go to Israel.
Heart emoji.
What?
Well, hey, why do you have your friend in Israel pay for one of my trips, and then when I come back and I'm pro-Israel, I'm going to lose all my fans?
I just been offered another trip to Israel, all paid.
All expenses paid, huh?
And I was going to go, but the war started. And so after the war is over, I'm going back.
Well, if it's still there.
Team. It's going to be there. Don't mess with Israel.
No, you mean
don't mess with Israel.
Don't mess with America is what you mean.
And Israel.
Well, Israel doesn't have anything without America.
What do you think about the people coming here and they chant Allah Uaba?
Get out.
I mean,
get out. Just because I don't want to support Israel doesn't mean I want a bunch of Muslims coming in here and doing Sharia law.
I know.
I want them all out.
Amazing. Yes.
Back Health says she ain't wrong. Heart emoji.
Thank you.
And then Back Health 101 says she has a fiance. Give me my money back.
Amazing. Thank you.
Aaron G. Can this lady have a show?
You have a show, right?
I do. I do like a kind of these reaction videos about twice a week on my YouTube channel. People can find them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
SM Jameson on Pilled gifted the shades. Great guest. Thanks for having her.
It's amazing, huh? Yeah. Amazing.
Eli P says trip to Israel equals bribery.
That's right. Whatever it takes. She's going to Israel. When you come back, you're going to be a different person.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to love everybody.
No,
even your enemy. You will love all.
I don't know about that.
That doesn't mean you're going to agree with all, but you will love all.
I'm still working on loving my own family. So
yeah.
let's.
I got to ask. President Trump, white people are being under genocide over
correct.
there in South Africa.
Yep.
And
They're being genocided all over the world.
they are 100%. But Trump brought in some white people, a handful. He didn't even bring a truckload.
I know.
Just a handful.
Yep.
And there are people mad about that. What do you think about that?
Because they're mad at white people. They want white people to die.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Super chat.
All right, last couple of super chats for the guests. Cactus Eater Bear, Leonarda is amazing. Heart hands, strong white arm, parties.
Right on.
Ash says, Leonarda Jonie, you are the best. You are beautiful. Love your mindset and continue to keep it real. Watch out for them boys. God bless your husband. Lucky guy.
Amazing.
This is a black, so that means more to me. When black people support me, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's amazing. I love the black.
And thank you guys. That's all for now, I think.
Amazing. So I have one more soundbite that I want you to
Let's do it.
respond to before I go here. And Nick, I didn't tell you in advance, but it's the one right below that, 12-5. And this is from Fox 13. Seattle Police Chief was asked how he would handle the situation if President Trump deployed U.S. military to his city. And am I too fast? You have it?
No, we're ready.
Here's the response.
And protests also happening in our state. Protesters in Seattle clashed with police last night as they tried to stop people from being taken to the Northwest ICE Processing Center. It happened near the federal building in downtown. Police used what looks like pepper spray and non-lethal rounds to disperse the crowd. Protesters tried to prevent ICE from detaining people awaiting immigration hearings by piling Lime bikes and scooters at the entrances to prevent people from exiting the building. Those bikes have been removed, and it appears to be much quieter in the area this morning. And while the protests here weren't as destructive as those in Los Angeles, Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes was asked how he would handle the situation if President Trump deployed the military to our city, and Barnes said he would probably go to jail.
I will do everything in my power, I want to be clear, to protect anyone in Seattle from anyone who comes to this city with the intention to hurt them or inhibit their First Amendment rights. And what that means is, at some point, I will probably go to jail and be in prison.
What a liar.
Everybody want to go to jail.
He's
all of a
not gonna
sudden,
go to
just
jail.
because Trump went to jail. What y'all?
No.
When you say that?
He's signaling to his constituents, look, I'm one of you. I'm like with you. I'll go down with you. What a total BS. It's about power.
Yeah.
That's going to get him more power. That's what he wants. He's not going to give up power. And you're obstructing the law. What, you see all those crazy white people there
Yes.
burning a flag because we won't bring in more people who actually want to kill you and hate you, by the way.
Yes.
By the way, when these immigrants come in and they're anti-white, they're not discriminating between the whites who let them in and the whites who want them out. Your uniform is your skin color for them. We're the only people, white people are the only people who evaluate people on the basis of individual identity.
Yeah.
That's why white countries are the only countries that elect leaders who are not of the dominant majority, right? Britain had a Pakistani prime minister, right? Ireland had a Muslim governor. Tell me the last time Pakistan elected a British man. Tell me the last time India elected anybody who wasn't Indian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
When I become president, I'm going to end this thing where foreigners can participate in our government.
Well-
we should not have. They had Elian Omar.
Jesse, we're done with black presidents.
I am too. Really. When I become president, no blacks in my government.
That's right. You're going to be
No.
the last one. You're going to create a law that says only white men can vote.
Yes. I'm definitely going to create a law that says if you don't have property, you cannot vote.
I agree.
If you don't own land.
Yeah.
Because people who don't own land, they vote for all the wrong things.
Yep.
Where the homeowners have to end up paying for them.
Yep.
What a mess,
It
huh?
is a mess.
So because of time, we're about to run out again. Any more super chat for her, James?
Yeah, one more.
Okay.
Over on Cash App, Anthony says, we have an American spirit, not a European spirit.
All right, Anthony, go study history.
What does that mean?
Because she said that she believes in the European spirit to
Right.
overcome.
Yeah.
Oh, right
Yeah,
on.
and the
that-
American spirit is built on European ideologies. So this guy needs to study a little
Oh, he
history.
doesn't like that.
Well, he should learn.
And Pastor Chatelain says, Mark just like his mama, Beta. Aaron G says, Jesse would be the first white black president.
Yeah, you go. I'm white on the inside, black on the outside. Amazing.
Nice.
Thank you.
And thank you guys.
Right
We'll
on.
read more later.
Closing remarks.
White power.
White
Is that what I'm
power.
supposed to say? No, they're going to clip that and be like, "Say."
White power.
My closing remarks is I think that people should never give up. Do what you can where you're at. You know, start with your own families. Clean up your own home too.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people who are out there, you know, on the front lines of all this, and then they're doing all kinds of shady things, cheating on their wife, you know, neglecting their kids. It's like you can't. If you want to be a proponent for, let's say, white people or American people, you need to be an example.
Yeah.
And so clean up your own life, because it's really because then people are going to be able to poke holes, you know. And I do think this side can attract a lot of I guess antisocial people, right? And we have to be careful about that. But
Yes.
I would just say to people, don't give up, and just, you know, because if you do give up, then they win anyway,
Absolutely.
you know.
You seem to be more upfront with the truth than white men. Not all, of course, but
Yeah.
most white men. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I get a little bit more leeway because I'm a woman,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they don't see me as a threat.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
And but I also do get attacked more because I'm a woman. I'm sort of betraying, you know, the cause or whatever.
Right.
And I think white men men really have been beat down so severely that they know, you know, they really feel like they have to apologize for everything. But I think that's changing, and I think the more women reward them for not complying, the more you're going to see it changing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I saw you on my friend Roseanne Barr's show.
Oh yeah, I love Roseanne.
It was fun.
Her son is great, Roseanne. They have
Yeah.
a great family.
Yeah.
He's got great little kids, adorable.
Is that
Yeah, that's one.
absolutely?
Yeah.
I was just reading.
Oh.
I'm black and slow. I can't hear and read. But
neither.
I got you. What do you want to say to that, James?
Jitsu James says with the coffee, Leonarda, when Jesse says love all, he means with a dispassionate, non-emotional love, like how God loves us. Hate and anger isn't a tool but a blindfold, and in this work we need to see, says Jitsu James.
Absolutely. And you say?
I disagree. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not God. I don't have that ability. I don't really, I don't stew in hate or resentment towards people, truly, and I don't really wish people bad, but I do wish people the consequences of their actions.
Well, they're going to receive that anyway, though.
Yep.
'Cause
Yep.
what they're doing to others, they're really doing it to themselves.
Well, you know, I think the way our system is set up is to spare people the consequences of their actions. That's why you have such a adolescent population.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell the folks how to get you again.
Yeah, just go to leonardaisfunny.com. You can find me on YouTube at Leonarda is Funny, Instagram, X. That's it.
I had heard that you were conservative, but I had no idea you were this conservative. Really, I had no idea.
I'm supposedly an extremist, Jesse.
Nice. That's what makes you so conservative.
That's true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for coming on.
Thank
and
you for having
We're
me.
going to have you back so we can deal with the Israel thing and other issues as well, right?
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I got to take a break. When I come back, straight to your calls, folks. I appreciate your patience. Back in a moment.